I love doing a signature cocktail for events because you can always name it something pretty cool. You can choose things you like. You can choose seasonal drinks. And it really helps if you're on a budget, as opposed to offering beer and wine and then trying to figure out how much gin you need or how much vodka or how to stock a bar with mixers and garnishes and all of that. That can be really overwhelming in addition to food and everything else you're trying to do for a party. So with the signature cocktail, I always try to choose one that has a 2-to-1 ratio. So what you're drinking now is a strawberry Moscow Mule. So it is 1 part vodka to 2 parts ginger beer. And I like choosing those ratios because it's really easy to do for a crowd. So if you're making a big pitcher, if you know you're doing like a quart of vodka, then I don't know, that might just happen sometimes.
And then you forget that it's a 2-to-1 ratio.
Yeah, and then you would do 2 quarts of ginger beer. And it just really makes it easy for a crowd. I've worked many events and hosted many events that feature signature cocktails, and a lot of times you can focus them around the guest of honor. So for my husband's birthday, we did a bourbon cocktail because he likes bourbon and scotch. So I actually forget what we named it, but it was probably not appropriate. But anyway, you can really come up with some really cool names and make little signs and get fancy glasses. So in addition to any beer, wine, non-alcoholic drinks, a signature cocktail is a lot of fun, and you can be super creative with it for whatever type of event you're hosting.
Yummy.
Yeah. So this was, like I said, 1 part vodka, 2 parts ginger beer, fresh mint, strawberries, and lime juice. So there's so many different variations you can do.
That's a good summer cocktail.
It is
right
a good
there.
summer cocktail. I know that we're still in February, but it's called the Strawberry Mule, which seems very boring right now. Yeah, I'll get back to you on that one.
February Fizz.
February Fizz, that's a good one. When I was talking to Kim about what type of cocktail to do, I said, I know it's summery, and it's just February, but the thought of, I just wanted something bright and refreshing, and that kind of resembled the hopes of spring, hopefully right around the corner.
Think of how good that's going to taste, like your summer strawberries
Yes.
coming in, muddle them
Good
a little
stuff.
bit.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
The mint might brown on the edges in the liquid. The strawberries, you really could, but you don't want them to really get mushy. So you can have everything prepped and ready, and then like we did here, just assemble it right before. And if you're kind of like taking your time drinking it, the strawberries are gonna soak up all the deliciousness.
If you're looking at maybe having something that might, if you want to do like a fall spin on it, you could do chopped seasonal apples. That could probably sit in it a little bit longer.
That would hold up a little bit
it would
better.
be almost like that sangria-esque kind of thing. And then honestly, if it were me, I would actually take chunks of fresh ginger and chuck it in there too. Yeah. Just amp it up a notch.
Good deal.
Yeah. Yeah. So Kim, our charcuterie queen. So Kim and I definitely share a love for grazing boards and charcuterie. If you saw my pin saves and every board that I follow, every page that I follow on Instagram, they're grazing boards. My wedding this weekend actually we're having a 6-foot grazing table. It's tiered, it's ridiculous. But they're my favorite thing to do. And when I'm sure if you follow us on Facebook or Instagram, you've seen some samplings of the ones that we do. We probably do, anywhere between 3 and 10 a week at times. During the holidays. During the holidays, what was it, Christmas Eve? I think we did about 15 at least. For 1-day pickup. And I remember Christine saying to me, so do you still like doing those charcuterie boards? I'm like, I'm about over them, but yeah. But we do them for kids' parties too. So like we had a second birthday party, and we did fun things like, Swedish fish and goldfish and
animal crackers.
And like they want to feel part of the group too. And Christine and I and our spouses, soon to be spouse, we all went to Free Will a few weeks ago, and I brought a board down for us, but I put like gummy bears on it because what adult doesn't like gummy bears? So we had a lot of fun things. There's no right or wrong way to do a grazing board. It's literally whatever you kind of feel like. There's some basics that you can start off with, your cheeses, your meats, your fruits. We have some olive selections. We've got some vegetables. Seasonal stuff is the best. Taking some fun things to kind of fill it. I'll take kiwis and I'll cut them on a funky pattern and throw them in there just for some extra spunk.
The pomegranate.
The pomegranate was cool. We did mini pumpkins on there. We've even hollowed the mini pumpkins out and put some of the dips in there. But it's really just kind of what you feel like. It's not a specific placement of everything. The round boards that we do are probably my favorite ones to do just because there's just such a beautiful water flow almost to how the board is created. Today we're doing a rectangular one just because we have a lot of folks here. So while I'm kind of arranging, Christine's going to kind of go through some of tips that we can kind of offer up. Is that cool?
Absolutely. It's really important when you are creating a grazing board to take a few things into account. The time of your event, you don't want to prepare things too early. The best thing that you can do if you want to do it ahead of time is you can put your cheeses, your meats, your fruits, your vegetables. You really want to save your crackers and your nuts till right before you're ready to serve the board, because if you wrap it in saran wrap and put it in the fridge, your crackers are going to get soft. And you're not going to have a crunch to the nuts or the crackers if they sit in the refrigerator. Also take into account the theme of your event. Like Alicia had mentioned, we've done boards for all sorts of holidays and birthday parties. It was really great to be able to utilize the small pumpkins in the fall, pomegranates when they're in season. Also take into account dietary restrictions of your guests, any type of gluten issues, nut allergies, things like that. And you really want something that everybody can feast on, because chances are it's going to be a centerpiece. So you really don't want to have anybody feel excluded. Again, it's real important to just be creative. As Alicia mentioned, there's really no right or wrong way. You can experiment with exotic fruits, and we've done boards that have chocolate because you want to have something sweet, a little salty, and experiment with textures and different tastes. So that's important as well.
Some fun
cold
things.
soda.
Build from the outside in? I've done a couple, so I'm asking, like, sometimes once I start in the middle and go out, I start to feel like, oh, I don't know where I'm going. What do you think?
I like to build from the inside out.
Inside out, okay.
Yeah, I like to have, like, I usually, when I start my boards, I usually try to do like the small cubed things and like the pepperoni, or if I have chunks of salami, or even prosciutto, like we'll have this weekend. Just because that you can create a flow to it better than compartmentalizing. Don't get caught up so much in having an order of things.
That's where I have trouble.
Because when I first started
time.
looking into doing these boards, of course, like everybody else, I YouTubed it, and I'm like, all right, let's see if there's like a science to this. And it was very much well, start with your cheeses, and here's your 3 piles of cheeses, and then here, take your meats and put your 3 meats there, or whatever. And I'm like, I do have a creative brain still, but I'm also a Virgo, so it's like I have order and creativity, so it was really screwing me up. And I'm like, you know what, I'm just going with the flow of everything. So I kind of start from the inside and just kind of work my way out with my ingredients. I do usually start with my cheeses and my meats first. I kind of look at that as my anchor, because those are your most expensive items. You can control them a little bit more, and there's more variety of what you can offer. We can put brie on here if we have brie. And then you can dress up your brie. Brie looks gross. It's rind. Like, no, that does not look good. But take some raw honey, even break a honeycomb. You can get honeycomb over even at Wegmans in the honey aisle. We do pureed jams or fresh fruit jams that we've made at the shop, and just lightly drizzled it or taken, what did we do? We did a balsamic glaze on one time too. So it's just kind of whatever you feel like doing. Don't let these weird little fluffs of salami scare you. Christine's going to show you how to do this. Yes.
Yeah.
They look like a lot of work. It's the easiest stinking thing. You're going to be like, are you kidding me?
Fold it in half
They're like
and fold
little
it in half
ribbons.
again.
And then you take another one and you flip it the opposite
Yeah.
way when you're piling them up. It is easy. We make it look hard.
And you can see how like smoothly and fairly quickly this is going. It is so helpful to have all of your ingredients prepped because you're able to see everything and kind of visualize what you want to end up doing, as opposed to like cutting this cheese and then running in the fridge and grabbing the stick of pepperoni and all of that. And you'll notice this cheddar jack here is cubed, but then we've gone ahead with the sharp cheddar and cut it into slices and alternated the slices just to give different dimension and, excuse me.
You're fine.
A little creative element. So yeah, the salami sliced very thin. If you go to the deli, just ask them to cut it thin for you. And then you can just in half again. And this can definitely be done a day ahead of time. Tupperware container, just sandwich them in so they don't fall apart, and then store them for when you're ready to assemble.
And if you don't want to make these little ribbons with your salami, you can take a bunch of them and put them the same way, like this, just fold them in half. Keep them the same way, and you make a round out of them. You can kind of surround your like mustard or whatever with them too. And then if you, like I said, you take your fresh ingredients, even with your farmers markets. Going to the farmers markets or going through your produce section is like the coolest thing for inspiration. Just finding some cool stuff. Cucumbers, they look fancy. It's just peeling them a little bit off on the sides. You'll see them in our bento boxes at the shop too, like this. I'm kind of a little OCD with stuff, so I tend to make sure that all of our veggies are done like this so that I don't have a conniption. Because I do. I have a lot of OCD issues, so thankfully I have a partner that goes along with me on this stuff.
Do you guys do all the chopping yourselves?
Yeah.
We do. We have a slicer, which is super helpful. Her name's Alicia. No, I'm just kidding. No, we actually have an electric slicer, which we slice the pepperoni on, slice the salami on. We do cube the cheese by hand. We do slice the cheese and the cucumbers on the slicer, which is very helpful. But yeah, all of the fruits, veggies are prepped by hand.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah, and we do all of our own produce shopping. We have been on the search, which hopefully is over now, for
Yes.
a purveyor that will provide us produce that we've been happy with, because we have not been so far. So we each shop as much as we can and hand select all of our produce. Yeah, so even getting back to even prepping your ingredients and taking your guest count into consideration, you want to account 1 ounce of meat per person and 2 ounces of cheese. So if you have a kitchen food scale, that'll be helpful, or you can just know that a block of cheese from the store is generally 8 ounces. So that way you can know that you have the proper proportions for each of your guests, and you're not going to have waste, but then you'll also have enough to be able to feed everyone. So we like to do a variety of fruits and vegetables and meats and cheeses, olives, nuts, veggies, and like Alicia said, really just utilize those local ingredients. Would you like these here?
No, I'm going to put, let's throw them in there for
Yeah,
now.
absolutely.
Thank you.
No
Thank you,
problem.
handy assistant.
Yes, absolutely. We also look to Pinterest for inspiration, but it can be super overwhelming. You see these boards. There's someone that we both follow called The Reluctant Entertainer. Her boards, when I tell you, are like this big. And some of them make sense, but some of them don't so much. Like I look at a taco board or a pancake board. It's like, how do you keep that stuff hot for your guests? I mean, as cool as it looks, it's just not super practical. So when you go through Pinterest, you can kind of weed through things that might work for you and might work for your guests and might work for the type of event. You'll also notice, can we just do a lean up real quick?
Oh, yeah.
The size of the bites for the charcuterie board. You really want people to be able to pick up something and have it be a manageable bite, whether it be meat or cheese. You don't want your pepperoni or any of your other meats sliced too thick, because it'll just take you forever to chew and it'll make a scene. It'll just be
won't be
awkward for
pretty.
everybody.
It's kind of like when you go and you get one of those pre-made veggie trays at the grocery store, and you're always stuck with that one ginormous piece of like broccoli that it's like,
It's like this big.
am I going to tie a swing up to this next?
Right,
Like,
right.
What am I
What are you
doing
gonna
with
do?
this?
But like even with the grapes, it looks like they're big, massive bunches, but we've cut them into like little.
Because I don't want you
picks.
touching my grapes. Just grab a little one.
Just
you're
grab a
good to
little
go.
bit, exactly. Or it would be not great if somebody stood there and was picking off the grapes. So this way they can just put the grapes on their plate, pick them off when they get back to their seat, and not necessarily worry about anything else. So as far as dips, we like to offer mustard for the cheese and meats, hummus. We have a roasted red pepper hummus and a traditional hummus for the vegetables. We have olives, and then we add the crunchy element. So sometimes crackers, nuts. We offer gluten-free crackers, and they offer as great fillers too. It's great when you're looking at a board and it just looks like it's overflowing, that you're not seeing any of the board itself through any of the items on the board. It just wants to look like full and robust. As far as the boards, we're at Home Goods all the time. And we take pictures of them when we have carts full of them and say like score, or pictures of,
Can this come home with me?
yes, or pictures of empty carts when we're sad when we go to Home Goods and can't find any boards.
Yes.
Because most of our charcuterie boards that we make for people, we lend the board. And we generally ask that the board be returned within a week, because it really adds to the whole presentation. We have yet to find a like cardboard or plastic or any type of tray or board that can imitate what a nice board looks like. So, and it fuels our board addiction, which is always good. It helps keep everything contained. We've lined this board with parchment paper. You can also use beeswax. Parchment paper, I think is just the easiest, because when it's done, if there's any like bits and pieces left, you can just fold it all into itself and get rid of it.
How do you clean like a wooden board? Because I have wooden boards at home that I reduce, but I didn't put parchment in. How do you clean that?
If you didn't put parchment in it, I would just say soap and warm water, sponge, let it air dry as best as you could.
And you can always oil it too. Use a mineral oil and just wipe it really well.
Yeah.
Too, just like you would use for a butcher block countertop. Anything that's food safe like that. But honestly, because your boards are probably treated, cover them. Just be safe, just cover them. Parchment paper is what, $4.99 for a ginormous roll.
Yeah. And we were
Save
able
yourself.
to find unbleached parchment, so it has a brown
It's
tint
so
to it,
pretty.
and it just really blends in with the board. So Alicia's adding some pretzels just to fill in the little gap on the side of the olives.
And you're done.
We have olives and nuts and
I need
fruits and
to do the-
veggies and crackers.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
this is
You just would not put on the board.
One thing that we recently put on a board were cocoa dusted almonds. And sometimes when the moisture of the vegetables and cheeses on the board hit the cocoa dusted almonds, they don't look quite as appetizing as you hope they would.
yeah.
So I would
They're
say
good
that.
in theory.
Good- yeah.
Or it's a quick solution though too. Put them in a little cup.
Put them in a little cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, the little cups are absolute lifesavers.
Yeah, these little deli cups, I mean, we get them. You can honestly, you can even go to your deli department and just ask them to either give you some, like a handful of them. 99% out of the time, they'll go ahead and just give them to you.
Yeah.
So,
Amazon too.
and Amazon. And the dollar store.
Oh, dollar
has-
store,
Yep,
yeah.
yep.
It's a pack of 4 for $1.
Perfect. Yeah, you're absolutely set.
So, hey, that's what the olives are in there in one of the dollar store things.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So there's your charcuterie board.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. Yep, we've added dark chocolate to our boards, and we've also done dessert boards, which are a ton of fun. With Alicia just made an amazing chocolate hummus last week, so we do fruits and little shortbread cookies.
Yeah, it tastes like brownie batter. It's delicious.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing.
Recipe with
Yeah, just have to make it again.
I'll just make it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Question.
Oh, yeah.
She keeps trying. She's got the arm up.
We've been at events that folks have just public events. You're like, oh, we're
Yeah.
like, no, please, there's tongs right there. But yeah, we've made it. Everything's like Christine was saying, everything is so bite-size accessible. So, but they're easy to just grab with a pair of tongs too. So just use the tongs.
And then build your plate, and then build your little cracker sandwiches.
Yes.
Yes, later.
Make
Yeah.
it later.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, you think about it. If you were to go to a buffet, you wouldn't just like go and start buttering your bread right in line and buttering your mashed potatoes and everything else.
Yeah.
Oh, and another thing too, if you're looking for like little filler stuff too, this is just some fresh dill. Just sprinkle it through on
Give it a little
tuck
yeah.
in, and then you have a little extra zhuzh to your.
Rosemary works really well around the holidays.
Yep. And then it's just these little pockets of prettiness that just add a little punch to things. So
Do we fill your dips, or do you just have new little cups that you replace?
for the boards themselves, we usually, when we make our boards, we provide enough dip that should last with what we have on there. So that's why this one has 2 little things of hummus. I mean, it's a grazing board. It's not a buffet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not like if I were to sit there, I would sit there with a tub of hummus. We're not putting a tub of hummus on there
Yeah.
unless somebody wants that. But I mean, we've done like a spinach and artichoke dip and bruschetta and things where we've had larger quantities, but also taking into account what else is on that board too. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend refilling them. It's one more step you have to worry about. That's the beauty of this board, is that leave it and go, help yourselves, and as it goes, then it goes. Oh, just the stone ground. It's just a stone ground mustard.
Yeah.
And actually, I just made, 2 weeks ago, a delicious stone ground mustard sauce that if you've had, the Stonewall Kitchen,
Yeah.
or Williams Sonoma, they have like their mustard sauce. It tastes
pretzel
just
dip, it's
like
so
the
good.
pretzel dip. It's insane. Cheeses that I wouldn't put on. I think anything that's super pungent, that's just going to permeate on the rest. And we put blue cheese on, but small amounts.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, for a board this size, if I were to put a piece of blue cheese, I would probably put like a little 2 or 3 2-ounce chunk, and that's it. Because it's not something that people are going to be fighting over.
I don't know if I would put a cheese on there that I hadn't had before.
Oh, because we almost did that.
Yes. It's as creative as you want to be and fun. It's probably not the time to experiment with something that you haven't had before.
Yes.
Don't
Don't get wowed by the cheeses during the holidays.
Yes.
Unless you've had them.
I try to stick to cheeses I like and that I know that I'm familiar with, especially when building boards for customers or for guests. If I'm curious about a cheese, I'll buy it and I'll bring it in, and Alicia and
We're
I
the
will
guinea
try it.
pigs.
We'll have it for lunch, and then we'll say like, oh my gosh, this is fantastic. We want to incorporate this in our boards. Or we're going to be like, oh, that's going to go in there. Yeah. So I would stick to what you know and what you like.
Do I just put it in your capable hands and walk away?
That's the beauty of this, is the fact that you don't get a say.
Well played.
Well played. Now, if there's something specific that you would like to see, absolutely, we'll go ahead and hook you up.
Yeah.
We price our boards at the shop with these basic components because we want them to be affordable. We don't want you, you're entertaining your friends. We don't want you to break the bank on what is, so it's your crowd favorites, your basics, if you would. But we can definitely ante up. Like I was out at the stores today. I have a red wine and black pepper salami that I picked up. I have a red wine Merlot soaked cheddar. I've got a manchego. I mean, I've got some funky stuff that I'm doing because it's my budget, and I'm going.
And it's your wedding.
Yeah, and I'm going there. Free will. God, come on, everybody over.
We have a ton of pictures of our boards and a lot of on our social media pages. A lot of times people say like, I really like this board. Can you do something similar? So that's generally a good guideline as well. We've done boards before. We did one for a construction company Christmas party, and when I had done the consultation, they said, no hummus. These guys will not eat hummus. Make it heavier on the meats and cheeses. Yeah. Like, okay, done. So things like that, we can definitely give that extra layer of customization for.
Should I ask the question? What would something like that run?
This one, I would probably put it, oh gosh, I'm trying to think of our price points. Around $60, I think.
Yeah.
Which, there's a lot of stuff on there, and that's it.
Yeah, and this would 30 to 40? 30
Yeah,
to
this is
35?
about 30 people.
Yeah, so this would be about 30 to 35 people. And we do it, we have brackets per like 10 to 15, 20 to 25, 30 to 35.
Yeah, but I mean.
30 to 35.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and it's designed to be like that accent to whatever else that you're having. I mean, and usually when folks are inquiring about our grazing boards, I know we usually ask them, like, do you have other appetizers that you're doing? So we know what might not work with something else, or what we might want to amp up a little bit more on your board then too. So
we like to talk and find out lots of information.
yeah.
Yeah.
When I was doing Nourish prior to Christine and I together, I never put a menu out for anything. Every event that I did was customized. So if you had an event, and we would sit down and have a consultation, and I want to know everything there is to know about your event. Not just where it is or how many people you have. Tell me about your guests. Are they adventurous? Are they a little shy? What time is it? Do you want something heavier? You guys gonna be walking around. All
What's
of these
your favorite
things.
food?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Those things go into the grazing board too. So that we again, we talk to you, we email you a base point of what are our most popular items. Whether it's hot appetizers, hot sandwiches, cold sandwiches, entrees, salads. I mean, we get pretty funky with some of the salads too. Our grazing boards, brunch ideas. That our catering menu is designed to be that stepping off point. Because again, we want to know about your event. What can we create for you? We don't want a cookie cutter option. It took me the longest time just to even put together a catering menu. I was dragging my feet because I'm like, I hate this, but I know people need a starting point.
Yeah.
But we customize everything, and which is the beauty of it. So, but yeah, we have a catering menu, so you can always Facebook message us, private message us if you're looking for it. Just send us your email, and we'll shoot you over. Yep, absolutely. Like I said, it's a starting point. So,
So prior to joining Alicia and opening up across the street, I had a family meal company, which we carried into Nourish. So we do a family meal pre-order menu every Thursday at 2:30. Gets posted on our Facebook page, and you can comment on the menu what you'd like to order for pickup the following Tuesday. So Thursdays at 2:30, the menu goes up, comment what you would like. We offer 3 full meals in 2 different sizes. We have a small size, which serves 2 to 3, and a large size, which serves 4 to 5 people, as well as a quiche and a crustless quiche. Once you receive order confirmation from myself, you come the following Tuesday between 12 and 6 to pick up your meal. We do make additional meals for people that aren't able to pre-order, so they can stop by and grab them from our grab and go case in the front of the cafe. The pre-order menu generally sells out in about less than 10 minutes. We've capped at about 140 meals, so we sell about 140 meals in, I would say, an average of 8 minutes. Yeah.
We don't have a huge production team, so you're basically
Yeah.
yeah. But that's where you know everything's made with love and everything's
Yeah,
done
absolutely. Yeah,
individually.
menu goes out Thursday. We shop and do our ordering on Friday. Do some prep over the weekend. Most of the cooking gets done on Monday for Tuesday pickup. Thank you. I will put some plates out. This is for you guys.